Once upon a time, they made a game called Banco Kablooey. It was the best video game in the world with over 3 trillion active monthly users on Steam. It's a first-person shooter where you have to take down the evil witch to stop her from detonating the EMP bomb and knocking out the entire internet to replace it with her own sentient AI network that censors and controls all social media and search engines, so she can manipulate the masses for her own benefit. So she hires Banco and Kasumi to take down Lago, who is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and is also your father, but it turns out that the entire game was a simulation to train Rambo Chalupa into being an ultimate super soldier, and also to manufacture consent for the Great Donkey Kong War. You see, Grunty Industries was a front for a global PMC, and whenever wartime happens, the company makes money hand over fist. Also, the real Grunty died 23 years ago, so Klungo meticulously reconstructed her consciousness into an artificial intelligence shortly before her death. And right before the final battle with Metal Gear Hag, Mumbo contacts you and confesses that all of the transformations that he was doing were slowly poisoning you with the Voxdie virus, because he was actually a major stockholder for Jamjar Industries, which is a rival PMC, and had a vested interest in Grunty's PMC going down. And if her super soldier died, her stocks would plummet. But it turns out that even though Mumbo was slowly trying to kill you, he's now having second thoughts because he saw a cute red panda while he was doing undercover journalism in the Himalayas, and he learned the value of life, so he decides to spare you. But the game abruptly ends by telling you that Banjo was using hypnotherapy on himself to turn himself into the phantom of a legendary super soldier from many years ago, Liquid Lanky. Whenever I'm playing a ROM hack, or any game for that matter, one of the things that tends to bother me more than anything else is when the game is too big for its own good. The original Banjo games were expansive, but they were also cohesive and focused, without a bunch of hollow and empty worlds with nothing in them, most of the time. They usually made very good and efficient use of their spaces instead of being a mostly bloated expanse of hot air and the empty vacuum of space. A trend in modern games is to make the game as big as possible, and it's impressive from the standpoint of presentation, but the game itself starts to run out of steam very quickly as traveling the world becomes the main gameplay and the actual good parts end up being stretched way thin across too much surface area. It's like my man Bilbo Bagman says, it's butter scraped over too much bread. And although this type of thing is common in the quadruple A video game industry, I have occasionally seen it seep into the ROM hacking scene as well, and while I generally want to be constructive and not tear people down like some Anton Ego type, the truth is this kind of thing has a way of draining my enthusiasm, and it really bums me out. The reason I'm taking you on this long intro is because Cheato's Challenges is basically the exact opposite of this type of game. It's a very short and incredibly efficient burst of ROM hacking perfection, and I can easily recommend it to anybody. This is a ROM hack that you can blow through in like an hour, but that's because it's just the good stuff. There's no boss fight with Grunty even, because that's not actually the fun part of Banjo-Kazooie, don't you know? Cheato's Challenges is a ROM hack that came out early this year, or late last year, I don't actually know, but it was released 8-ish months ago, which I'm pretty sure was January if my math is correct. Me personally, I'm more of a Doritos guy, but hey man, it's a free country. Opinions are a wonderful thing. I didn't even know this hack existed until I actually browsed the Banjo's Backpack Discord. I have been infamously slow with picking up Discord, but don't worry, eventually I'll have a Beano Discord server up and running in like a year or two. It'll happen. Cheato's Challenges is a collaboration between a few ROM hackers who threw their hat in the ring to make some brand new levels, but what sets this hack apart is that the levels are very short and sweet and to the point. These are much more compact levels with far more focus and absolutely zero wasted space. You can blow through each of these levels in less than 10 minutes each, so none of the levels or settings overstay their welcome. I'm always saying, ROM hacks should focus as hard as they can on the strengths of the vanilla games and optimize those parts while drawing attention away from the things that don't work so well. Take the notes for instance. In the original game, if you die, you lose all your notes, and if you didn't manage to collect all 100 of them, you have to recollect them all just to actually collect them for real. In this game, each level only has 20 notes, and combined with much more efficient level design is far less of a pain in the ass to recollect these things when you die. And even then, I'm pretty sure I died once and it didn't put the notes back, so I didn't even have to recollect them all, so that's pretty wild. I hope more ROM hacks start doing that. All 6 of these levels are completely different. You got the castle level with this cool fog effect that I'm pretty sure uses the same animation system as the lava or the water, which is really creative and beautiful looking. You have this giant aquarium tank full of all kinds of ocean life like the stupid shark boy. There's the dessert dimension full of cake and tea and these square thingies that I forgot the name of, but I think they might literally just be called squares, so that's what I'm going for. Then there's the desert dimension, which is not the dessert dimension, it's the desert dimension, which is totally different. I love the English language. This whole level is a reference to the Calamari Desert track from Mario Kart 64. You can even see a model of the original map from this vantage point. My favorite detail is this target button thing that was placed on this billboard. Then there's this level, which reminds me of those little water fountains that therapists put in their waiting room to make people calm down before their meeting. I love those things. Then of course you have my favorite level, which is this tiny little city whose only resident is this undercover guy trying to blow the lid off of an alien conspiracy. I don't know what it is about this level, but it's very comforting. Presentation-wise, the visuals still adhere to Banjo's art style, but with enough variety to avoid wearing itself out and to ensure everything feels new. And hey, did you know that this game has music in it? Cheato's Challenges is a type of ROM hack that I really want to see more of. It represents a very interesting change of pace that I would definitely love to see explored further. I love big, expansive levels with a lot of stuff to find, but there is also a lot of value in these smaller, faster levels as well. I think there is a lot of potential for this kind of design that hasn't yet been explored on the same level of the traditional level design paradigms of Banjo-Kazooie, and I would love to see that explored much more deeply. So if you're a Banjo ROM hacker who is at a loss for inspiration and you're trying to figure out a smart idea for new ROM hack levels, consider the possibilities and potential of these small, focused levels, because I would 100% support that. My only gripe with this hack is that there are only 6 levels, because the extremely efficient pacing means that it never loses momentum, and it could probably keep going for a good while. But it sold me on smaller levels and more efficient pacing. I feel like I'm repeating myself now, so I'm just gonna say, you'd better eat those damn Cheetos.